All right, so here we have Tune Tracks Easy Bass, and what we're going to look at today is certainly not everything you can do in Easy Bass, because that is a lot. You have your standard bass, and you have all your groove libraries, you have your grid editor, um, many different ways to bring in audio and extract, and that is kind of what we're going to do today. Because I think everybody's got a lot of loop libraries, and way back in the day, you'd have your loop library, which would have one or two drum loops, one or two bass loops, and a few guitar loops, and the idea is you could make some kind of musical song out of that, which was next to impossible, really. But with today's technology, with Easy Bass and software like Melodyne 5, really powerful software. You can do the same thing with Melodyne 5, extracting all kinds of ideas and song information out of any loop. So if you ever had a really cool guitar loop that you loved, but you knew you could never really do anything musical with it because you just had that one loop. You didn't know the tempo, you didn't know the key, you didn't know the chord change. Well, that all changes here with Easy Bass and, like I said, Melodyne. So we are going to do that. We are going to take some bass loops that I've liked from Tony Franklin's library, which I got a long time ago. So in the first session here, let's listen to some of these loops. These are audio loops, right? This is not MIDI. This is actual audio. Now you hear some distortion, you hear some delay. So these are far from clean, perfect guitar loops. These are distorted. He's got his own personal groove going. He's got delay on it. And so if Easy Bass can pull this off, I would say 99% of your loops would be able to be brought into Easy Bass, and you can extract all the musical information from it and create a song. So let's do that. Let's go to Audio Tracker, which brings up this interface. Let's take session 1 and drag it in, drop it there. We get this interface that says bass audio to MIDI. Yes, we want to take this bass audio loop and convert it to a MIDI loop of bass, or our own custom bass MIDI. And so it also says here, if we click on it, it says its estimated tempo is 90.1, but we have it already set to 90 on our DAW, so that's close enough. We'll just leave it at current. Do you want all the extras, the percussive mutes and grace notes, anything that it's picked up? And you can turn that off or on. We'll leave them all on for now. Click OK. And you can see in the background that it's already done when we first actually brought it in. So it's really fast. There's no wait of a minute for it to calculate, really. It's pretty much instantaneous. So here, if we drag this slider here, we can drag it out and see clear what we have. And right now, this would be, if I go over here and turn off any effects that I may have on that channel, as I've been testing. This will be the pure, with it all the way here. When we listen to it, this will be our new MIDI bass that we have extracted. And if we take this slider all the way here, this will be the original Tony Franklin bass. So let's listen to that first. And turn it down a little bit. Turn it up. Okay, so that's the original loop that we listened to down here. That's raw Tony Franklin, right? So if we drag this to the other end, we'll hear the guitar without any effects. So this is just the MIDI information with the raw, clean DI bass, with no effects, but it's picked up the notes. It's picked up the notes, so that's what we need for the first stage of this. So we're doing fine right here. It sounds good without any changes. And of course we can change anything, because you know we're now at a point where as soon as I match up the and I'm going to match the sound with the distortion and amplifiers, but we're at the point where as soon as I add it to the track, we're unlimited now. We've taken this one loop and just we've got all the song information that was created with the chord changes, every note editable, the tempo information, the key, everything. So now I'm going to try to match the effects Tony had on his guitar. You could spend 2 minutes on this, or you could spend all day to try to match it, and you could probably end up matching it fairly close depending on what equipment he used, but you know, you're able to get fairly close. So I'm going to use some of these effects to start to ramp up some effects that he probably had on his guitar as close as I can for a quick demo. So I'm going to play it while I turn some of these effects on. So now we have some effects on. We're not going to spend a ton of time because that's not the focus of this video, but we do have some guitar effects on now. So as I switch back to the original, back to what we have, it's going to be a lot closer. Now you're also hearing some more pluck on a little bit more pick on his guitar, and we can also do that because remember we have different types of guitars here. If we go to our guitar interface here, this was just the bass guitar that we started with and added some effects to it, but now we can also try to change our guitar and setup to be more like what Tony was using. Let's try a clean dynamic pick and check out some of the effects and play it. We'll have to play it from the audio tracker because it's still in this mode, so let's play it from here. Now you can also hear he's got a little bit of delay and stuff on there. But we could get really quite close if we took the time to add a little delay and stuff on there. But in our case, that can be done later in the song, adding a little bit of reverb and a little bit of echo or delay. But right now, I'm really happy with how we've just extracted this one loop, and we've got a real working, good sounding bass. So I'm really happy with almost the instant you know, results we're getting. So what we can now do is start to get to some of the magic where we can say, okay, let's add this MIDI to the song track. So we're now taking this capture representation here, which you can edit right now. You can edit at this stage. But since we're pretty happy with everything, there's no missing notes, that really everything's good here. Let's take it to the next stage. We've added it to a song track down here at the bottom. We can drag that out and see it clearer. And now we can go to the grid editor. And we can drag that out. So now we can see the extracted session here, and we can play it from here now. Now we can also add a loop, so it'll loop as we try to do different things here to it. Now at this stage we have the MIDI information, right? And we know it's in the key of C major, tempo of 90, the time signature is 4/4 time. We know the chords F over C and C. We know the chord change, and those are totally editable. Click on them and change it to any musical idea we want. and we can cut these and make different size chord changes, right? So you could add chord changes anywhere to anything. So you're not limited with chord changes at all. This is the MIDI information, which can be cut, paste, moved, and it's just like general MIDI now. Plus, we have the entire thing that can be moved in verses and choruses and resized and refit and shaped. And so, but up here in this window now is where we can change every note. So we see it more as a whole picture down here, as kind of a song picture with chord changes down here. But this is the individual note picture up here. And this is where you can change every note, and you can do musical little ideas like select 2 notes that you want to actually slide or slide in or slide out. You have all these different things that a bassist would do, all kinds of musical ideas. So, and you can test these, right? So you can take the original and do all kinds of different articulations. You could say, you know, you want these little notes to be slaps or whatever. You're really not limited in any way. You can change any note to any articulation. You can cut them, paste them, resize them. And that's something you can do and spend, you know, 5 minutes on or all day doing. But it gives you a lot of control over this. So this little change here, let's see if we can hear that little slide in. So right there now we have just a little bit of new musical shape here as he slid into this other note a little more nicely there. So like I said, you could change all of these notes in small or big ways, doesn't matter. But down here now we have some new tools. One of them is Edit Play Style. We click that button, which gives us these knobs here. And this is kind of like a quick fine-tune of your musical idea, just to give you some great different ways you can shape this quickly. So we can grab the audios or the MIDI notes, so select that, and you can say, okay, let it play, and we're going to mess with these dials and see the effects we can get just instantly. I'll turn it down a little bit so I can talk over it. But you can change the length of every note, or you can take the amount of notes away for different effects, different types of musical effects. You can add notes. You can make those notes smaller or longer notes. Made them full notes now, they extend. You can see the changes up there at the top. So you can have your bass player change his style according to how you need him to play. And if there's too much buzz on the strings, you can dampen it a little bit. Or you can make him play a little looser. So you just change it the way you like it. And the velocity, you can crank it up a little bit. So these are ways to change things quickly on a global kind of way. So after just checking that out for a bit, you can decide if you like this or not. And if you do, you like it, you could say, okay, I'm just going to grab this whole chunk here of information, and I'm going to hold down Control. And you see that little plus sign in the corner means you're adding. So I'm going to drag it out twice and start making a song out of that one little original loop. And you can drag it out like that too. And you can drag this out. And so the whole thing will loop now. And now you can start saying, okay, I may want to change that, double click, and to a G. And then the next one will be a C, but I want it to end on a G. So now, you know, immediately you can see you have the G there. So you have all the information you need to just drag out and reshape every note, all the chords, and not only that, but of course you can get into changing the actual sound of your guitars with different types of guitars and dynamic picking and some effects. And because it's a VST, then you have all the insert and send effects to give you all kinds of amps and to reshape the sound with, you know, everything a DAW has to offer. So, you know, that's pretty much it as far as just taking one little one loop idea that used to be on its own and that you couldn't really see into it, you couldn't extract information from it, let alone make a song out of it. Now with a simple drag in and some quick little editing, shape the sound the way you like it, and you have it now in a virtual format, which you could just turn on some drums and match up some drums from Superior Drummer or Easy Drummer. If we go back to the beginning. So that's my little demo of taking old loops and breathing a whole new life into them. And because so many times in the past I've had loops with a cool bass or a cool guitar loop and wanted to make a song or you know, either a song or at least extract some musical ideas from it, and there's just no way to do it. And with these tools, not only do you have a way to do it, but it's so easy and fast to do. And so, you know, the next stage might be, since we know all the musical information, the chord changes and everything, there's nothing stopping you from going to your DAW and to the chord track and Cubase and, you know, setting it all up to exactly what I've started here. And you could, you know, set the entire chord track of your song. So not only are you just dealing with bass, but now everything, your drums and all your other instruments are all going to be guided by the chord track. And if you're using Easy Drummer and Easy Piano, it's going to be quite easy to keep everything in tune and create quickly. But also with programs like Melodyne and whatever, the fact nowadays is that once you do have the chord change, the key, the chord changes, you can take even you know, loops of guitars that were recorded, you know, in different sessions, different places around the world, and you can make them fit into, if though they were playing in this little musical session here, by altering you know, the way they fit in using tools like this. So it's really a powerful way to work with your old loops and make them, turn them into a song. Hope you enjoyed the video, and take care wherever you're at, and we will see you on the next one.